PC gaming in the early 2000s was a real sight to behold. A landscape of all kinds of sites just waiting to be explored. Flash games were the king of computer gaming for a long time, allowing free and fun time killers for just about anyone. As fun as these games were, one common issue was something that held many people back. That being that games were just far too short. This was a time for many indie developers to sort of distance themselves from Flash. This push ended up helping to create the PC casual gaming market. From games like Diner Dash and hidden object games, PC gaming worked into every single niche that you could ever explore. Along with these games came a pretty hefty amount of storefronts with them. From places like Gamehouse to Big Fish Games, almost anywhere you looked, there was a storefront ready to provide you with the latest and greatest gaming had to offer. One of these storefronts was known as WildTangent, a game distributor that may well be known in many circles, even now, as bloatware, because if you happen to buy a computer of any kind from HP, you most likely had their launcher pre-installed in your computer. This came to be a bit of a detriment to the company, as early on in the launcher's history, a controversy arose due to the poor handling and collection of personal data. Many people even claimed the launcher was slowing down their computer's performance, though this was never verified. Even with these issues, WildTangent managed to have some great success in the early 2000s. This storefront's not only home to different games from indie dev studios, but even had a few original creations of its own. One of these more notable creations being the Fate series of games. Fate was a dungeon crawler series that did well enough to net quite a few sequels, being one of WildTangent's most successful games. These guys were one of the mainstays for buying games until more big-name storefronts came, leading the charge on PC ports of AAA titles. This charge presented the problem that ultimately doomed the era of browser storefronts. Many storefronts now, while still alive, are former shells of what they used to be. The internet finding them nothing more than a place where subscription scams can run rampant, or find that games are missing or aren't even downloadable now at all due to changes in modern operating systems. Even after all these years, WildTangent is actually still around, being bought out in 2019 by a German gaming company. Even with this buyout, the storefront is actually still up and running, including the launcher used to play games. Now, if you recall, I mentioned earlier that there were some original games that had been done by WildTangent, and one of them happens to be the subject of today's escapade down the rabbit hole. A game that ended up kickstarting a very nostalgic series, revolving all around a polar bear and his friends. The beginning. Polar Bowler. Polar Bowler was created in 2004, still in the early years of the company's releases. The game came out to extremely little fanfare, as I could find no actual reviews for the game itself anywhere. The game stars PB the polar bear and all of his friends, heading out to do some bowling at many different lanes. One thing I'd like to note right off the bat is a startling absence of bowling balls at all, opting to instead throw themselves at the pins down the lane. I really hope PB had his friends sign waivers, because I'm really starting to notice a lack of a polar hospital anywhere. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's take a look at the main menu. The menu is displayed on a wood sign, allowing us to play the game, look at the local high scores, display options, and even has a help button that, when clicked, actually displays an HTML page. It's sort of a digital game manual. It's still really neat to be able to see this working even after all these years. The options are fairly bare bones, allowing you to toggle full screen, toggle sound and music on or off, or just head back out to the main menu. Clicking play brings us to the character select screen. From here we pick which character we'd like to bowl with. The selection feels pretty appropriate for the setting, sporting a penguin, Eskimo, and even Santa Claus himself. Right under the character select is a place where you can put in your name. This name will end up being used on the local leaderboards once you finish the game. Once you enter your name and character, you move on to the lane select. There are quite a few lanes to choose from, though a couple of my personal favorites have to be the Candy Lane and the lane featuring the Northern Lights as a prominent feature. I want to take some time to talk about the unlock system in the game. It's a simple one, and honestly one of the better systems compared to a lot of these cheap casual games. You can unlock up to 5 new characters and 6 new alleys. I'm not sure why they're uneven, but that's just how it is. The way you go about unlocking these different lanes and characters is by getting progressively better and better scores. Each character and lane just needing 25 more scores than the last to be able to unlock. This means that at the highest end, you'll need 300 points twice to be able to unlock the next character and lane. It's a relatively intuitive system, and also means that it won't take long at all to unlock all of what the game has to offer. Many may find that a downside, but for a game like this, I just don't see it that way. I think the lanes, especially at the end, are super worth it, as they look incredibly stylish and rather pretty for 2004 graphics. After finalizing your lane choice, it cuts to a loading screen that sometimes includes cute little fake adverts that would look quite in place sitting on a site window for the time. They're simple, but still an extremely cute little detail. After this short little loading screen, we finally get to begin our game. The way you control the game is rather simple in nature, utilizing a catapult to be able to take your aim. After selecting where in the lane you'd like to go, all you have to do is pull the catapult back. This also acts as the game's power meter, as the further you pull back, the harder and faster that you launch, even sometimes catching a little air in the process. One thing I want to touch on is the power-up system, where this game really allows for some rather creative destruction down lane, and really steps up the enjoyment of the game. The powers are quite simple, being a bomb, snowflake, lightning, and a multiplier coin. Starting off with the bomb, that, on contact, blows up the pins and scatters them around based on a small radius wherever you made contact. This one pretty much almost always guarantees a strike, but can still be pretty inconsistent. Next, I'll touch on the lightning. When you hit the pins, no matter where you made contact, all of them begin to start being electrified and jump into the air, each pin flying into a different random direction. This randomness also tends to lead into a pretty inconsistent time with getting strikes, but usually tends to lead to some pretty easy pickups on the second turn. Next up has to be my personal favorite, the snowflake. This one is always a guaranteed strike, as on contact, the pins all just fizzle into snow, no matter what pin is touched. This is also a personal favorite because I just really enjoy the sound mixed with the slight snow effect on the pins afterwards. Lastly is the multiplier coin, allowing use of another game mechanic in the game, utilizing bonus points. These bonus points are added onto your score at the end of the game, when adding your name to the leaderboard. The coin is a little random, awarding 2 to 5 extra points for each pin hit while using the coin on that frame. Now if you wanted to, you could turn these powers off right in the menu before this, but I really don't see a reason to. These few power-ups help tie up the gameplay into a neat little bow, and really help making the unlocks just that little bit easier. Talking more on the gameplay aspect, I wanted to talk physics, as they feel to have aged a bit more like cheese than wine. Now don't get me wrong, they still feel good to play with, but sometimes do some pretty questionable things that I don't even think I can understand. Now, part of this could be because I'm running the game on a system that is miles ahead of what it was originally released on, but it's still something I wanted to point out, as most anyone these days isn't cracking open a virtual machine just to get Polar Bowler running right. Sometimes I feel a little confused by how the pins fall, but more often than not, they fall and sound like they should. Speaking of sounds, the music. It's a short list of tracks, but these 3 are some of the most listenable pieces of music I've heard in a very long time. For me, I just really enjoy the elevator jazz / really brassy tones that come from each track. This OST has been on repeat for me not just this entire week, but even during the making of this entire video. It's just that good. Well, that about sums everything up with Polar Bowler. It's still an extremely fun time killer that really helps open the gates not only for WildTangent, but casual gaming in general. Now this may have been the first release for PB and his friends, but it most certainly isn't the last. Maybe next time we can delve a little deeper into the next installment of the series, where things get just a bit weirder in a whole new sporting endeavor.